There's a lyric in Money Money that goes, I work all night, I work all day to pay the bills I have to pay. And if that doesn't describe adulthood perfectly, then I don't know what does. So today I wanted to break down and analyze one of ABBA's, I think, most successful songs called Money, Money, Money.
Money, 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 must be funny.
It was released in November of 1976 and it was originally titled Gypsy Girl, and it was being sung from the viewpoint of a woman who, despite hard work, can barely keep her finances in surplus and therefore desires a wealthy man. I mean, relatable? No, I'm just kidding. So today we're going to listen through the song and I'm just going to break down some of the things they're doing that I think are quite interesting, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay. So we have the like super dramatic intro, which I just love, and I always thought it was super complex to play, but it's actually not too bad. So we're in the key of A minor. We start with the A minor in the right hand, and instead of using the A, which would be the root note in the bass, they choose to use the fifth, which is the E. And then it just works its way up. We then go up to a F7, work its way up, and then we go to the D minor. And then we have like this E7, and then we resolve back to the A minor, and then we just work our way up. So it's all kept like very close and neat together. And the one songwriting thing I want to point out is that don't just go to the default of using the root note in the bass. Play around with that, because we're going to see further into the song how they play around with that, and it really does change the atmosphere of the song a lot. That kick drum. So after this really huge dramatic intro, it then strips down. We get this kick drum, and then we get the sync and the key doubling, and we have this really like dramatic little riff that's like just walking up. It's really beautiful. So basically everything starts really low and then everything crescendos. It gets louder and louder too. That's too bad. And then it strips back down. So then you have that bass playing the octaves, which just keeps the song moving, which is just a really simple way, but it's very effective. And then you have the beautiful harmonies of ain't it sad, and then the harmonies is a third, ain't it sad. Just really effective, really nice.
A single penny left for me. That's too bad.
And that's it.
I have a plan. If I got me.
So the synth is still doing that really dramatic thing in the background. It's low in the mix, but it keeps things moving, keeps adding the harmonic information, and then the guitar kicks in with dun, 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 and it's just like so dramatic. And it's the first time we hear the guitar, and then it starts like leading into the pre-chorus and like the chorus, and yeah, it's really effective.
Wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work at all. I'd fool around and have a ball.
You hear the violin? So I've been listening to Money Money for so long that I never really noticed that that was a violin going down in that section, and it was because originally the song was going to be called Gypsy Girl, and they wanted to have this whole violin section, and then they decided that's not quite the way to go with the song, so they took that idea away, but we still hear the remnants of that idea in that just little pitch like siren of the violin, which adds nice character to the song.
In the rich man's world. Money, money, always Sunday. In the rich man's world.
So I found an interview where they were talking about the songwriting process, and they were saying that they were really struggling with like trying to find what was right for the song, and it wasn't until the bass player decided to mirror the lead vocals in the bass, and they were like, yeah, okay, now it's working. So it's really a clever, it's a good idea to have the bass mirror the vocals. That adds a sort of feeling to a song, and it's just like something that you may not necessarily think of. So if you're a songwriter, maybe try that if you're feeling stuck sometimes. So also having the lead in octaves just makes it sound so dramatic. Like this song is a dramatic sounding song. The sound of the snares, it's big. Like everything makes this song suit like a musical theatre kind of thing, which no wonder they turn their music into a musical, right? But yeah, everything is so dramatic and creates this like this, whatever word, insert a word there. And then you have the guitar that's like, which just adds a counter melody to the piece of money, 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 and you know, gives your ear something else to listen to when you think you know what's gonna happen. Okay, for this bit coming up, when we go, oh, listen to what the synth is playing, because this is something I hadn't noticed until analysing this, so let's go. Did you catch it? It's so good. So the synth and the piano double there are playing money, money, money. So it's a really sneaky way to reinforce the catchiness, the main part of the chorus underneath the aha, which is something I never noticed before. I was like, sneaky writing there. Then it strips down to the beginning, but you have the moving bass and then so we have the synth continuing that dramatic little line, which we know and love. The bass is continuing to go. Everything is stripped down from that very dramatic chorus. And we have these backing vocals like ooh, 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 which I never really noticed, but then when you listen to the Mamma Mia version, it's so prevalent in it. So yeah, it's just adding a little bit more in a very subtle way.
And like that is hard to find, but I can't get it off my mind. Ain't it sad?
So the bass in this is pretty funky and keeping it working. So it's going on the A, which is the root note, and it's just going in the octaves, and then it goes half a step down to the G sharp, which is the third of the chord. E. I work all night, I work all day to pay the bills. So they've used the third of the chord. Like, so that's something to really play around with, like not just going to the roots, because when you do the third, it really enforces the tone, whether it's a happy chord or a sad chord. So it really enforces that mood and creates kind of tension in my ears. And also interesting how they've decided to elevate the G to be sharp to have that chord, because in A minor you wouldn't have that. But yeah, interesting thing to point out.
Happens to be free, I bet you wouldn't fancy me. That's too bad.
Okay, so I just want to notice the lyrics a little bit. So I love how at this part of the song the character's like, okay, so this is my plan, but you know, even if I did find a wealthy man, he probably ain't gonna fancy me to marry me, so I'm gonna be rich. So it's gonna be more realistic for me to win the lottery and become rich that way, which I just think is quite a humorous lyric, and it's actually quite comical. And I never really thought how it was kind of a funny lyric, but in this breakdown I was like, oh, that's very witty and very funny. Also, just take a quick look at the music video here. So the music video was inspired by Cabaret, and you can see that by their outfit, by the lighting, and the dramaticness of the song suits the dramaticness of being inspired by Cabaret, like the image, the spotlight and everything. So it's kind of just like it meshes really well together, and I just wanted to acknowledge that and point that out.
So I must leave, I'll have to go to Las Vegas.
Oh, Monaco, because that's more realistic.
My life would never be the same.
And then that dramatic stare. Okay, so here's the thing that I wanted to point out. So notice the absence of the guitar throughout the entire verse. So when it does come in with that dun, 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 it's super dramatic. So when it does come into the chorus with that counter melody, it's an instrument that's like new to the ear in the sense of we haven't been hearing it in the verse. So that's like a good songwriting thing. It's like just because you have a guitar or using a bass or a key or whatever, it doesn't mean you need to use it throughout the entire song. You can choose to just use it in certain portions, and that's quite effective to recapture the listener's ear. So that little, also that little walk down into the chorus is just like simply walking down. It's like like all of this is very simple, and it just goes to show how the beautiful simple writing of Benny and Bjorn, like it's so effective. And whenever I say simple, I don't mean that as a bad thing. It's intelligent and clever and effective, and it's just such a good song.
Monday, Monday, Monday. Must be Monday. In the rich man's world. Monday, Monday, Monday.
Okay, say something quite funny about this? I was reading an article about this, and they were saying usually when they wrote, they would come up with like nonsensical phrases in terms of the lyrics, just like as filler while they were figuring out the story. And apparently some of the phrases that Bjorn came up with were money, 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 milk and honey, or money, 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 buy a bunny. So, you know, this could have been all about buying a bunny, but you know, in another universe, in another timeline. So, which I kind of love that they shared that, because, you know, Phil Collins' Studio, that's why it's called Studio, because he was just coming up with the words and like that sounded good, and he kind of made up this word and was like, oh, nothing replaces Studio. So I just thought it was a funny story to share. And again, focus on how when this part coming up, they are playing money, money, money underneath it. So it's a different key. All the things I could do, and then and what do we think we're gonna do to add the dramaticness of the song? Key change. Key changes always add energy and dramaticness. If you feel like your song is stagnating, try key change. So we're in currently A minor, and then they just go half a step up to B flat minor. So just half a step up, but it adds the dramaticness and keeps the song going and moving and adding like more of that I need the money.
In the rich man's world, Monday, 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 always Sunday. All the things I could do if I had a little Monday. It's a rich man's world.
And then everything just crescendos, the keys, the drum to just to be like, this is the end of the song. It ends in a very dramatic way, almost in a very musical theatre way. Like, it doesn't like just resolve. It's like, this is going to be the ending of the song. Anyways, I hope this video was entertaining, somewhat informative, and I hope you were all excited for the new ABBA music coming out. I know I am, so hopefully it's going to be a great old time. I feel very lucky to be able to listen to ABBA music coming out in 2021. I can't talk. What a time. But thank you for watching, and until next time, bye!